Eng the locksmith texted me her duplicate and his name. The text arrived with the tenderness of a spam filter. Your duplicates are ready, Naomi Bloom X2, pick up for Rowan. Mercer Locksmith, 14th Street. I was in line at the deli, negotiating with a sandwich about how much I believed in mustard, when my phone took the liberty of informing me that our house now had a twin. I'm the sort of person whose job makes him paranoid in polite fonts. I design workflows for people who want their apps to feel like assurances. I know the difference between a notification and a confession is how much of your life you've already told it. The locksmith had somehow met an address book that wasn't mine and grabbed the wrong number. Or the right one. Or the only one that would do the most damage in the least number of words. My thumb typed back before I decided which creature I was going to be about this. Wrong number. A second bubble appeared while my heart practiced cardio on its own time. Apologies. Naomi left this number for updates. We close at 6. Naomi has always treated phones like loud rooms she's allowed to decorate. She hates voicemail and loves notes. She writes grocery lists as if they're poems. She texted at 8 panel donors, a quick drink, don't wait up. The algebra here is rude and familiar. We've been doing it since spring, when her center's donor list started collecting men named for private schools. One of them belongs to a Navy coat and a habit of calling errands ethics. I have met him 3 times. He is always expensively certain. I stared at the locksmith's apology until the sidewalk tried to swing. I put down the mustard argument and walked south. The deli guy called after me with a newborn sandwich. Bloom, you forgot to disagree. And I did what I've taught myself to do when the city nominates me for spectacle. I walked to Loom. Loom smells like oranges and reprieves. Anna was there, sleeves rolled, wiping a counter that didn't deserve it, the pale crescent scar on her wrist catching light like a soft alarm. She saw me and poured water without proof. I set my phone between us face up like a reluctant witness. Which tool was unfaithful? She asked. The locksmith, I said. Naomi X2, pick up for Rowan. Anna's mouth tilted, not unkind. Spectacle is a sugar crash, she said. He'll have you falling apart beautifully in time for the evening commute. Mara is in the corner if you want bread. Mara sat like she always sits. Red scarf folded into compliance, notebook flattened by a rubber band, eyes that make lies skip class. I slid into the chair opposite and told her about the text, the name, the strange intimacy of another man being allowed to carry my front door out of a store at 6 o'clock. Bread or sugar? She asked. Bread, I said, even as my tongue invented speeches. Good, she said. Go home at 5. Put the phone on the table. Light 1 lamp. Leave the door unlocked for accuracy, not for guests. If someone brings your key to your door, be the person who makes that useful. Ask for 1 sentence you can live inside. Do I stop the pickup? I asked. You don't have custody of a locksmith, she said. You have custody of a kitchen. I tipped her with thanks I can't afford and walked east. My phone did a half-dozen minor things: calendar, a weather alert about rain that wanted to feel cinematic, a bank reminder I couldn't respect. At 5:38 the feed buzzed again. Your order is on the move. ETA 6:10. I didn't like the verb. At 6:06 the doorbell announced itself without ringing. Motion detected. The thumbnail bloomed. Our hallway, a tote slung over a shoulder, navy sleeve, careful hand. The clip played. He leaned into our lens with benevolent professionalism. Rowan for Naomi, he said, as if my doorbell were a person he'd be willing to tip. He held up a small bag with the locksmith's logo and smiled like a line item. I'll wait with it. My mouth did what I have trained it to do when I don't like who it will be if I let it be easy. I unlocked the door and opened it to the chain. "Evening," he said, the way men say good weather. "Leave it," I said. "You're not a concierge." "I'm a friend," he said, "with a favor." "A favor would be not giving my house a copy of me I didn't ask for," I said. "Naomi asked," he said, gentle enough that for a second I wanted to borrow his tone and send my chest to bed in it. "It's her house, too." "Correct," I said, and closed the door gently because men like him think slammed doors mean you've lost the debate. From the other side, a soft, practiced laugh, a bag placed respectfully on the mat, a small click as expensive shoes learned the hallway again. I unhooked the chain and opened the door to an empty corridor. The bag sat like a riddle, Mercer locksmith, a receipt curling from its stapled edge. The receipt wore Naomi's name and the shame of a shop that still learns people by paper. I took it to the kitchen and lit one lamp. Naomi came in at 6:23, hair damp from a rain that had decided not to be dramatic. She saw the lamp, the bag, me, and did the expression of someone who has been underwater and intends to handle air politely. "You got a text," I said. "So did I." She slipped the lanyard from her neck and put it on the chair back like a relic that had failed to perform a miracle. She reached for the bag. The keys inside made that soft sound new metal makes when it thinks it's doing something good. "I asked for duplicates," she said. "One for the dog Walker, one for my sister because she forgets her life sometimes and I want her to have hours to hide in when she needs." "And Rowan," I said, letting the name be an instrument and not a weapon. "The receipt says pickup for him." "He was near the shop," she said. "He offered to save me the errand. He likes to confuse legwork with love." "Accuracy," I said, "because this is where I get to be impressive or useful, and it's never both." She nodded, grateful and irritated with herself. "Accuracy," she said. "I liked the feeling of being a person with a household that other people helped carry. I liked handing someone a small task and watching them return it to me like a proof of devotion. I wanted that feeling more than I wanted to ask whether it was wise. It's not wise. It's also not a sin. It's just lazy, and the laziness has a name." "Is he a key to this house?" I asked. "Or is he a courier who hurt his own feelings when you tipped him in silence?" "A courier with ambitions," she said, mouth curved in the grammar we learned together. "No key for him. Not now. Not later. Not unless I'm trying to ruin the thing that makes me worth returning to at night." She opened the bag, slid one duplicate across the table. "Sister," she said. The other she kept beneath her palm. "You can tell me if you hate this one enough to make me bring it back." "I don't hate it," I said. "I hate that I learned about it from a stranger who thought my last name was his ticket." "I hate that too," she said. "I hate that I like when someone else says it out loud. I hate that I like being handled like a parcel sometimes, just to see if I'm fragile." "Do you need to be touched?" I asked. "Or do you need to finish the rest first?" "Touch," she said, and the please lived quietly in her mouth. We didn't go to bed to win. We went because accuracy without contact is a famine. She stood before me, and I raised the zipper of her dress slow as grammar, the motion we reserve for nights we plan to be attentive. The fabric made the small, faithful sound of clothing remembering its job. She placed my palm at her hip and pressed until stay set its teeth. I kissed the hinge of her jaw where her certainty keeps breathing, and she said my name in the version that means keep. We asked our simple questions here, slower, more, and answered in breath, the one language that won't testify against you. We laughed once because a sleeve misbehaved and she rescued me with her teeth, because dignity is less important than rescue. Heat arrived like tide, not ceremony. We met it where we said we would. When we came apart together, the room came back into focus like it had been listening sympathetically and decided we deserved its good light again. After the ceiling did the decent thing and stopped having opinions, Naomi put her cheek on my chest and drew a small circle where my worst ideas nap. "I'm not pure," she said. "I don't need purity," I said. "I need the person who can say lazy out loud and decide to be less." I wanted to see if I could let someone do something for me without paying for it in the currency where we live, she said. I failed halfway. That counts as failing. It also counts as stopping. "We need tools," I said, "not bars." She laughed into my skin, humble and relieved. We sat up. I pulled the bag closer. We wrote rules with the pencil that lives in the drawer beneath the oven mitts because it always writes even when we don't deserve it. 1. Keys are for people who sleep here or bail us out or pick up our dog from the vet. If a donor wants to carry something, they can carry their own briefcase. 2. If a key is cut, we say it in this kitchen before the machine hears our names. 3. Novelty is a chore. Your weeks, wrong hour for the right thing. My weeks, move the furniture until the light has to remember us. 4. When either of us misses being handled by the wrong person, we say it out loud and then do 3 stupid, ordinary things until we remember what ease looks like. Peel oranges over the sink. Play one song to the end before anything important. Kiss in the doorway so the apartment believes us. We did them because midnight is a manager who likes checklists. We peeled oranges. The bright smell freelanced as hope. We played the song that understands remorse doesn't count as romance. We kissed in the doorway until the pipes clicked their little approval. In the morning, I wrote Mercer Locksmith a thank you and a request to remove any number that wasn't ours. I changed the lock app so nothing could be labeled guest without my mouth or hers inventing the category first. I taped a note inside the junk drawer that said this house does not outsource trust. Naomi made coffee and read me a student paragraph about restraint being a kindness to future versions of yourself. She laughed at her own earnestness and then confessed she liked it anyway. "I want to be nice to them," she said, meaning us in a month. "I want them to inherit fewer problems." At lunch, I passed Mercer. The bell above the door looked like it had been waiting to be a symbol. I walked in and gave Jay a coffee card and asked him how often the right person collected the wrong key. "More than you'd think," he said. "Less than you're afraid of." On my way back, I passed the Arcadian because I didn't want to look away if the city was going to be obvious. He stood under the awning with his coat arranged as if it had feelings. He saw me. His face put on benevolence like a uniform. "You're lucky," he said. "The blessing men keep in their pockets when their God is themselves." "I trained," I said, and kept my back for me. I went a loom because victory tastes better when Anna names it. She slid me a cookie I pretended I didn't want, and then used as proof I was still a person. "Bread," she said, tapping the counter. Sometimes the locksmith texts anyway, an automated courtesy masquerading as concern. Reminder, rate your experience. Sometimes the doorbell mistakes the UPS guy for a revelation and announces, "Welcome back," as if we're the sort of people a box should be emotionally invested in. Sometimes I want to send keys to my worst decisions and ask them to let themselves in quietly. We put the object on the table. We turn on one lamp. We ask for one sentence we can live inside. It keeps being enough. On Thursday, Naomi texted from 3 blocks away. "Bring the second duplicate to the cafe. Sister forgot her world again." I brought it. Her sister cried good tears into a croissant that made dignity secondary. I watched Naomi put the key in her sister's palm with a tenderness that made me forgive a locksmith I hadn't met. On the way home, we moved the couch 2 inches because our ritual says so, and the light forgot us briefly and then remembered, which is all I want most nights. Last night the doorbell announced motion with a confidence it hadn't earned and took a picture of our neighbor's cat as if it were scandal. It captioned the image with my last name. I turned off its cleverness and turned on the lamp. Naomi came in without lanyards or apologies and put a small bag on the table, lemons, a new pencil, a note that said "Read if the drawer is loud." Inside, room 0, lights on, 2 people, keys inside us. We laughed more than the joke deserved. We used it anyway. We are not pure, we are practiced. We write rules on the back of receipts and keep promises in a bowl with oranges and a single stubborn pen. The city will keep auditioning as our accomplice. Men in Navy will keep offering to carry what doesn't belong to them. Devices will keep trying to speak for us. We will keep doing the one useful thing we know. Lamp on, table set, mouth careful, hands honest. Yes repeated until it sounds like a key turning from both sides.